all right. What is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? It is Phil Nagy, Nagy on Sports, joining you here. And it is the first of our season recap videos, as promised. We are going to be bringing you, I brought you rather, 3 versions of the Browns roster. Option 1, Option 2, Option 3. Option 2 has been voted on, so we will see that season progress 1 week at a time, but I did want to run the other 2 offline so we can see. So we are about to take a quick look at what an roster option number 1 roster would have looked like. Again, you can go back and familiarize yourself with the roster. We'll show you the stats in a minute, but the biggest change was basically we brought everybody back and brought in Kirk Cousins to be the quarterback. And the net result was a 5-12 season. So take that with a grain of salt or take it for what it's actually worth, which is not super inspiring. Season started off with a bang. You can see here a big 6-point win over the 49ers in San Francisco. I'm sure Cleveland would have been a buzz with the guy that we'd found. And we can even look at the box score, actually, in this one if you want, and see where we were at. Kirk Cousins had 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns in that particular game. And Nick Chubb run for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. How about Kirk Cousins, 6 carries for 21 yards in that one. Beat the Bears by 3. Lost 7-6. Woof. Lost to the Titans. That would be Cam Ward as the quarterback. Lost to the Dolphins. So a little 3-game losing streak. Then we bounced back against Drake May and the Patriots before a bye. Heading into a bye, 3-3, feeling pretty good. Then things went bad. Again, I don't know if there were injuries. We'll go and evaluate that in a moment, I suppose. Lost to the Raiders. Lost to the Bills. Lost to the Vikings. Lost to the Steelers. Lost to the Bengals. Lost to the Ravens. Lost to the Packers. So that is a quick 7-game losing streak before beating the Bengals on the road, another loss against the Ravens, beating the Lions probably at the end of the year when it didn't matter, and then a loss against the now Quinn Ewers perhaps led. I think that's who the Jets drafted in this one. I'll have to go back and look. So 5-12 is the net result of this roster. That obviously does not mean the playoffs for the Browns. The playoffs ended up being this, and look at that. We're going to have Kansas City and Philly in the Super Bowl. Didn't we just see that? You can see Buffalo was the number 1 seed, but actually got beat by the Chiefs by 1. Both the Bengals and the Ravens making it as well. You can see there. And how about the Patriots squeaking in as the number 5 seed, and then the Dolphins as the number 7 seed on the other side. How about the New York Football Giants? They got drilled by the 49ers, but hey, they made it. Falcons made it. Cowboys made it. Bears make it as well. And then you can see there the Eagles' path as they progress to the Super Bowl. So it's a ho-hum repeat in Super Bowl 60, which is not nearly as exciting, I think, as it could be. But hey, who knows? It could be real. All right, we're going to look at some statistics now to see how these simulated Browns did. So we're going to look at the individual stats. So Kirk Cousins, he did play every single snap. Both Deshaun Watson and Jackson Dart didn't get a single one. Had about 3,180 yards on 292 completions at 63%, 24 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Only had a long of 42, and he was sacked 32 times. Whoops. In the running game, Nick Chubb, 229 attempts, over 1,000 yards and 15 touchdowns, so he had a nice bounce-back year. The rookie Travion Henderson, 120 carries, 418 and 2 touchdowns, and then Kirk Cousins, apparently 75 carries, 54 with a touchdown as well. Not sure where that came from. A couple of jet sweeps to some receivers. Leading receiver, Jerry Jeudy and Tillman, both with 70 and 71 catches, 926 for Jeudy, 768 for Tillman. He got into the end zone 8 times. We've talked about him as a red zone weapon. Rookie out of Miami that we picked up, Xavier Restrepo, 58 for 735. He was the slot receiver this season. He also had 10 touchdowns. Njoku, 53 for 457. Travion Henderson out of the backfield, 16 catches, just 10 for the rookie Tyler Warren. That is a mismanaged use of his skill set by this offensive staff, and 13 dump-offs to Nick Chubb this season. Leading tackler, as you might imagine, Jeremiah Musu-Koromoa, and also the middle linebacker that we brought over, Jerome Baker, both over 100 tackles. Denzel, Delpit, Newsome, Emerson, that kind of next category. TFL leaders, 21 for Myles Garrett, who did not get traded in this version of the roster. Myles only with 8 sacks this season, though, 5.5 for Michael Hall, 3.5 for Kwity Paye, who's we brought over to be the other pass rusher, 3.5 for Tomlinson. Not a lot of heat on the quarterback this particular season. Interceptions, 5 for Delpit, 4 for Jerome Baker, 3 for JOK, 3 for Ward, and 1 for MJ Emerson are the turnovers that we are at. Let's look at the award winners for the league, if you will. Actually, I lied. Let's quickly look at the We can look quickly at our defense, or our total stats here for the Browns. All right, so on offense, as you might imagine, near the bottom of the league, third to last in total offense, only 54.69 in total yardage, and points per game. I bet you this is going to be real low. Third worst in points per game at 19.8, and just had a tough time with the offense, which frankly is probably real. On the defensive side, it wasn't a ton better. Kind of middle of the pack here in terms of yardage given up. Sacks, they were near the bottom. You can see they're at 28, middle of the bottom, if you will. Packers only 5 sacks. Fumbles, they were kind of middle of the pack. And interceptions, they were higher middle of the pack there. You can see with 16 on them. So in general, much of what we assumed would happen. Do just want to very quickly look at your league leaders just to sort of give ourselves some perspective of what may have happened. Joe Burrow led the league in passing, 4,800 yards. 4,800 yards also for Mahomes. Purdy, Rodgers. Actually, Rodgers played another season with the Jets. There you go. And Anthony Richardson leading the top 5 passers in the game. 47 touchdown passes also for Burrow and Mahomes, your league leader. 40 for Purdy, Lawrence, and Rodgers, and Jordan Love. How about 39 for Michael Penix there? Leading interception, Bryce Young with 22, Richardson 21, J.J. McCarthy. Again, this is essentially his rookie season. Dak Prescott 33 and 21 for him. Carson Beck 26 and 19. Daniel Jones 25 and 18, etc. So you can see some of the guys who are leading the leagues. Percentage that actually matters: Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love, all 74% passers this year. Pretty wild there for them. Leading rusher this year was Najee Harris, 1338, leading Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, Jonathan Taylor, and then Saquon Barkley. There's Ollie Gordon. Here's the first rookie on the list. Cowboys running back, 1,100 yards for him. Leading touchdown getter, Saquon Barkley with 24. 17 for Lamar Jackson, and Joe Mixon were the second ones to be able. And then your leading receiver on the season, catch-wise, 105 for Chase, 105 for Thielen, 100 for Stephon Diggs. Then you have Jaden Reed, Ayuk, Evans, Kelsey, Andrews, etc., etc. Leading receiver yardage-wise, Rashee Rice, 1,513 yards, averaging 15.9 a pop. 1,400 for Ayuk. There's Josh Downs, Cooper Kupp still with the Rams as well. So some good things happening there. Rashee Rice. 28 touchdowns, 22 for Khalil Shakir. 28 touchdowns for Rashee Rice is an insane amount of receiving touchdowns, by the way. 22 for Shakir, Ayuk, Kupp, McLeod. Ray McLeod here catching some touchdowns for Michael Penix in that one. On the defensive side of the football here, your league leaders, just in case you were curious, 24.5 for Greg Rousseau, 16 for TJ Watt, Max Crosby, Nnamdi Madubuike, Chris Jones in there as well. Your leading tackler on the season, 135 for Tremaine Edmonds, Henry To'oTo'o, and Trevin Wallace coming in as well. Your leading interceptor this season, 8 for Stephon Gilmore, who signed with the Giants, 7 for Jalen Ramsey in this one. All right, that's a quick look at the statistics this season. We've seen what the Browns players did individually. Very quickly, we'll just look at the yearly awards. So Mahomes wins MVP over Josh Allen. No surprise there. Offensive Player of the Year, Rashee Rice. We just saw his stats were ridiculous, so that makes sense. Defensive Player of the Year, Greg Rousseau. We just saw him as well. Trey Harris, your rookie receiver. Offensive Rookie of the Year for the Bengals, ahead of Cam Ward. Kyron Lacey. There's Restrepo for us. There's Carson Beck for the Steelers. And Shedeur Sanders, of course, Carson Beck not actually going to the pros, but hey, they didn't know that. Tyreek Williams, go Bucks, for the Texans. He beats out Rod Moore, Makuba, and Malachi Starks, rather. Mahomes, best quarterback. Running back, Jonathan Taylor. There's Chubb at 5. Rashee Rice. Creed Humphrey, your leading offensive lineman. Taylor was on that list. Best D-line. Best linebacker. Best DB. Best kicker. And best offensive player of the year. Quickly on the NFC side of things, Barkley going to be your offensive player of the year. He beats out Ayuk and Kupp. Parsons beats out Gilmore. There's Aiden Hutchinson back from his injury. There's Ollie Gordon beats out Emeka Egbuka. Teteroa McMillan Tez Johnson and Ashton Genty, your top 5. Rookies of the year, there's Mason Graham for the Bears, Abdul Carter for the Panthers, Dallas Beenham, and Walter Nolan and Shamar Stewart, all up there at the top of that list. Jalen Hurts, best QB. We'll cycle through these quickly. Barkley, Ayuk, Martin, Hutchinson, Micah Parsons, Gilmore, Josh Myers. All right, so those are the way that we went this year. So the Browns going to be 5-12. Again, that's where we're at. You could see they ended up with an overall an overall record rating of 87 across the board. So very quickly we will see who wins the Super Bowl just for funsies, and then we'll wrap it up. I'll be doing this exact same thing with roster option number 3, and it looks like the Eagles would go back-to-back, winning 16-21. You can see what the Browns mock draft results would be here. They would be taking Nico Iamaleava at the number 3 pick. Not a terrible choice for them. You can see the other kind of top picks. There's Carnell Tate, Caden Proctor. There's the other Uangale as well. This is kind of what at least the fourth rough draft of the season. There's Caleb Downs. My guess is he goes higher than 25, but that's just me. So there you go. All right, guys, this one was a lot of fun. So if we run it back with just changing essentially Kirk Cousins in with competent quarterback play, it still didn't work out necessarily the way that we'd wanted it. And the Browns end their season, you can see they're right there in the middle, 5-12. Now they're technically down. Now they're down to an 87 overall. So maybe not the outcome that we wanted, but fairly realistic would probably be my guess. So I'll be back with another recap video of option roster number 3. And then again, we'll start doing option roster number 2, one game at a time here very, very soon. Appreciate all my subscribers, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Browns!